Uh, Mr. Clerk and Madam Clerk, are we streaming on YouTube?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Chairwoman, we're ready to begin.
Good afternoon. This is April the 29th, Wednesday, April the 29th, and we are the Urban Redevelopment Renewal and Planning Committee. Madam, would you please introduce yourself and please call the roll?
Jennifer Amity. Chairwoman Harris.
Present.
Vice Chairman Narducci.
Yeah.
Councilman Correa.
I'm present.
Councilwoman Castillo.
Present.
Councilman Espinal.
Present.
You have 5 present. You have a quorum.
Do we have any other council people joining us tonight in this conference? Please introduce yourself. If there is no other council people joining us at this time,
Council President Matos.
oh, thank you, welcome. Any other? If there is no other, Madam Clerk.
There are
Madam
no
Chair,
other.
if I may.
1 second. I would like, before we get started, I would like for the city solicitor itself and to also give us a legal advice on this meeting tonight that we're having.
Hi, this is Montserrat. I'm joining from the governor's office. Based on the governor's executive order, it continues through to May 17th or May 15th at this point. Boards and committees are allowed to meet as long as they're meeting in accordance with the executive order, which I believe this committee is. As long as you're allowing the public to be present in the meeting and they give them the opportunity to speak as required.
Thank you very much, Madam Solicitor. Madam Clerk, we have invited quite a bit of guests tonight. Are they present?
Yes, Madam Chair, they are present.
With that being said, could you please read the item into the record, please?
Communication from His Honor, the Mayor, dated March 13, 2020, submitting the Community Development Block Grant Budget for Program Year 2020 to 2021. The following have been invited: Bonnie Nickerson, the Director of Department of Planning and Development; Emily Friedman, Director, Division of Community Development, Department of Planning and Development. And the following have been invited for presentations: Stephen Hugg, Jenny Johnson, and there was also the Rhode Island, Tina, what was the?
Real One Fight Stand from the Community Action Partnership of Providence.
Thank you very much. At this time, I would like for us to turn this presentation, this meeting over to Emily Freeman to address us as a committee here in Earth.
Hello, good evening. I'm pleased to join you again on behalf of Mayor Alorza to present the proposed CDBG budget for 2020 to 2021. As we've discussed previously, our goal is to work collaboratively to get this budget into a final form so that we may proceed with passage and submission to HUD. By submitting in a timely manner, we are able to ensure that these critical dollars are available for the community as soon as possible. As a general reminder, in order to get this budget into final form, we do need council members to select their ward projects. I believe we're still waiting for confirmation from a few council members on project selections. So if you can please kindly make those selections and submit to either Kyle Delgado or myself, that would be great and will help us make the final substitution we need to make to get this budget into final form and passed out of committee. Ideally, if we are able to vote this out in the next week, we will be able to pass it generally in line with the schedule that we had originally proposed prior to this disaster, which does enable us to, it does enable a timely submission to HUD. And of course, I am here for any questions that the council might have and to support this process in any way. And looking forward to hearing the presentations from these great organizations tonight.
Before we move forward, Emily, we have asked for some changes to be made in the budget to be able to comply to, we've asked for some changes to be made in the budget. To,
Madam Chair, if I may.
yes, sir. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What I would ask is that if it's okay through you, if the committee members would look on the CDBG facility improvements.
Yes, sir.
And if you look about halfway down, communities for people,
Yes.
we had 15,000. After the conversation and going back and forth, it was well noted that they be defunded for this year and hopefully build up a better relationship for next year. So what happened was, if you don't mind me continuing, is we moved 7,000 back up to aged care, Ocean State Aged Care, giving them the $87,250.
Yes.
And then we moved $8,000 down to the Mount Hope Association Camp Street Ministries to give them the $28,000. That's the amendments that were made, and the amendments that we would like to vote on tonight to start the meeting.
Well, actually, I will not be able to do that until I heard that Emily have been able to make those changes before the budget that she's presenting for the mayor. So if those changes have been made by the planning department or the ERP department, and there is a document, I would very much entertain those changes.
So per the chair's request, we have drafted a substitution A if it's the
Yes.
It's the committee's pleasure to do a substitution.
Yes, please. And you have a substitute A, and as I understand, the clerk have been able to email each and every council person that document. At this time, I would like to ask the committee, do they have the email of the changes that were made to this document? The substitute A.
Madam
Yes,
Chair,
Madam Chair.
Pro Temp Correa,
Yes, I did receive that information today. Thank you.
thank you so much. Councilman Espinal,
I did receive it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Costello,
Yes, I received.
Vice Chairman.
Madam Chair, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to accept.
You have your document, have you seen your document as well?
Yes. And I would like to.
Thank you to the clerks for getting that out to us in appropriate time. I know this is difficult for us. We're so used to being together and seeing this stuff being passed out in front of us, but we are working to the best of our ability. Also, I understand that this document also will be made available to the public that we have been able to have. And I will, Councilman Vice Chair, go no further without listening to your motion.
Well, the first motion I would like to make a motion. I would like to make a motion to accept as Exhibit A.
Can we just note that this is an ordinance being substituted for the communication, please?
substitution. So this has to go in as a motion, a substitution.
That we are
Right.
substituting the communication as an ordinance.
Yes. Councilman Narducci,
Right, the motion I'd like to make is to accept as Exhibit A on the amended version of the ordinance.
I second that motion.
the motion have been made in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Motion have passed, so there's no opposition. With that being said, Councilman Narducci have explained the changes that have been made within the substitute A of this ordinance. Is there any discussion from the committee? All right, with that, no other discussion. We will move towards, is there any more questions, first of all, for Emily? All right, hearing no questions from the committee for Emily, we'll move towards committee, talking to the organization. We have invited the organization CAP, Community Action Partnership of Providence, to come before us. We also have a couple other organizations who have preferred to speak before us and to bring their organization presentation to us. But there is a request from the committee to speak with CAP. So if I could have permission to move that out of order, move CAP from the bottom and have them as a first presentation from the committee.
Madam Chair, move item, where are we, 3? Well, actually, it's just to have the Community Action Partnership go first in the invited guest list.
Thank you.
I second that.
Thank you. There has been a motion and there's second by Pro Temp. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. With that being said, we have CAP as bringing a presentation before us tonight. Before I get started, Madam Clerk, is this information available on the portal for the public?
Yes, all the presentations are available on the portal, and also the ordinance that was just substituted is now available to the public on the portal as well.
And just a second before we bring CAP forth, I want to say the amazing work that our clerks and staff are doing on front line, because this is not easy for us to try to adjust to this new norm when we're so used to being just together and brainstorming together. So thank you for all you do. And at this time, we would like to have CAP come before us. Just to get CAP started in a direction, we realized there was last year displacement of location, and you had to move in a new direction, new location. So I think if we could start with the presentation of what that move have been like, what had to happen for that move to happen. Did you have to get freezers? Did you have to get more storage area for the location you have? So let us know from, we do know that there was a definitely outrage from the community because of the need that is of this organization. So we already know that you've been doing for many years so many good things in the community, and the community did have an outrage because of the move. So let us know where you are in your work that you're doing. And then after that, I will open it up for the committee members to be able to ask any questions that they may have.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Madam Chair Harris and the rest of the committee, councilmen and councilwomen. Are you able to hear me?
Very well, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, on behalf of myself and my board, I hope this message finds you and your families well during these uncertain times. I want to just take a moment first, Councilwoman Harris, to personally thank you and the rest of the City Council for your steadfast support, Community Action Partnership of Providence, and the work our agency does for vulnerable citizens and residents of the city of Providence. CAP is an essential frontline organization. We have an escalation in the number of folks
Sir?
coming to us for assistance. Yes.
Can you just please identify yourself for the record and the public?
I sure can. My name is Rowan Feshiton. I have the privilege of serving as the Executive Director of Community Action Partnership of Providence, CAP for short. And I again wanted to just thank the, you're welcome. Again, wanted to thank the council and this committee in particular for hearing and reviewing our request for funds. As the councilwoman mentioned, we did over several months relocate our services in our pantry from our Elmwood Community Center location to a location on Broad Street that's on the bus route out of the Rhode Island Indian Council. So it took us several months to do that, to go through all the approvals and the required health regulations to get that up to speed. After about close to $15,000 of renovation to get that space ready, we did open in February. Who would have known at that time we'd be in the middle of a global pandemic? So it seems like so long ago that we even submitted these original applications to you for support of that pantry in particular. As I had started to say, we are up and running. We've been open since February. I submitted earlier to the council and to this committee some attachments from the Providence Journal that spoke to the reopening and relaunching of the pantry. So we've been open for just over 2 months now, and have already seen a significant increase to the amount of residents that we're serving. On an average year, we see over 750 families just in that one zip code. Since February and the start or onset of understanding what COVID-19 was, we are seeing now 150 more residents per month, not in addition to emergency services, as several other pantries across the city of Providence have closed. I should note that the pantry that we run and operate is the largest in the city of Providence. This brings our total monthly distributions up to well over 850 families served. Staff members and volunteers are pulling together to assemble boxes of food for residents. We are scheduling times for families to come pick up food and essential items in order to avoid large crowds from forming. Through the generous donations of funders and contributors like the city, we have been able to provide a limited number of gift cards to residents for local grocery stores and pharmacies to further assist with the daily food and medical needs. We do know that this will be a continued necessity as we continue to move forward through the pandemic. Previously, residents enrolled in our senior meals programs and activity programs would gather at our facilities on Broad Street for 3 congregate meals per week, where they could gather socially and engage in group activities. It is with a heavy heart that we had to suspend these congregate meals and activities because it was deemed unsafe both to residents and staff. To ensure that our seniors are able to be taken care of, our staff has switched to a system that is delivering daily meals door to door. Bag deliveries on Fridays packed with extra items to help them get through the weekend. Since this began in early April, we have delivered over 500 meals to our seniors. In the coming weeks, we will begin processing applications for rental assistance programs for residents in need to catch up on rent or mortgage arrears. While the governor has called for a moratorium on evictions for the time being, it hasn't stopped bills from accumulating. We hope to help our residents avoid losing their homes once this health crisis has ended. We sincerely thank you for everything that you've done to this point to help us raise support for the work that we're doing. Our original proposals before you called for funding for 2 basic supports which are critically needed, our food pantry and support for a part-time driver position. That support to address food insecurity is obviously needed more than ever right now. We have not had increases in city funding for this program for several years now. The separate request before you for a van driver is still relevant and important. There will be a need for this type of van service for seniors during the recovery phase of the pandemic. But what we understand in the actual live COVID world is we could repurpose those needed services now for a driver to help deliver meals to seniors as the funding might be made available should we be awarded. We are shorthanded in rotating delivery of meals in our personal vehicles at this time. So in short, and in recapping, CAP continues to do the amazing work that we're charged to do. We're still serving over 33,000 Providence families and individuals, and we're seeing an increased need for our services like we've never seen it before. We've already gone through hundreds of gift cards to help people make those critical needs. Again, we're seeing on average 150 new families coming to our pantries alone each month. We're over 850 and have taken on additional areas in the city beyond our normal zip code as smaller pantries are no longer able to operate. I believe my deputy informed me as I was heading out to join this meeting that 4 additional pantries across the city have closed. So again, while we submitted this months ago asking for a modest increase in what we've been given over many years, we probably could have asked for double or 3 times the amount that we're requesting, seeing the great needs that we're seeing every single day, while our amazing staff put themselves at risk while still delivering to senior high-rises, individual apartments for those that are homebound, and serving those hundreds of families that come to our Broad Street location every single day to receive services through this funding that CDBG we leverage very, very well. I would also just note in closing, additional document that I provided for you to look at is our most recent evaluation from the Department of Human Services, our state funder, which a large amount of our funding comes through. We had a glowing audit that was done, site visit. You can rest assured that we are great stewards of your funding and your resources. We braid those and leverage it like no other. And our funders require us to go through many, many layers of evaluation and performance management. So the ROMA that you see in that letter, there's an acronym. It stands for Results-Oriented Management and Accountability. So beyond what traditional 501c3s have to do, we have an additional set of layers that the federal government requires us to do for our reporting and making sure that our accounting is accurate and timely. So I would just ask that you would also, as part of your review, take note of that document and the glowing recommendation from our state administrator on all the assessment and the work that we've done over the last program year. And with that, I would pause and turn it over to you for any questions I might be able to answer.
Thank you very much for that very, very great presentation. At this time, I'm going to open it up for committee members to have questions or comments.
Hello.
Greetings, Councilwoman Costello, Ward 9, Councilwoman. How are you?
Good. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I had in the presentation and I want to know, because I work with that other organization delivering food for people in my neighborhood. And I want to know when, how, and because you say, you know, the food pantry continued to work more, and you say you give a gift card to this seniors building, you give it like delivery food. And, you know, a lot of people call me, they don't receive anything. And I want to know how I can confront that information, because I need to give you like a lot of food away with the other organization, because they started calling and calling and calling. And I really like to know and see, you know, what is the family service, because I receive a lot of phone calls for Ward 9. So it's possible you can answer my question, and I want to know the day we deliver the food, and I want to one day maybe be up, because for me, it's really hard to receive a lot of phone call and call the other organization to save the food, and how I can connect with you guys when some people in my neighborhood need food or maybe help. You can help. Thank you.
I would be delighted to answer that to the best of my ability, Councilwoman. Again, we are the largest food pantry for the city of Providence. So today was actually the distribution day in your ward on Broad Street today. We saw over 150 families come through today that were scheduled. 5 days a week, we meet families that on an emergency basis come, that's not part of a scheduled delivery day. So I have to again reiterate the fact that because of the social distancing requirements, we can't have large congregates of people just showing up unscheduled. So what we do is take them and give them appointment slots throughout the week where they can come and pick it up so that we can observe the social distancing requirements of the city and the state. But if a family is an emergency, they can get scheduled at any point to come to our pantry and they receive food. We have turned down absolutely no one. I can assure you of that. We are able to document that. Again, you are more than welcome, anyone in the council, to come through on any of our distribution days. Again, today was one of those days. We also have members of the Providence Emergency Management group coming in with their volunteers to support us. So they're seeing those daily numbers and the demand that's there. We get truckloads of food coming in from the food bank. We also buy additional food that's outside of that network through our unrestricted funds. And as I've mentioned, the way that the system is designed is to make sure that there's not duplication and there's not overutilization of any one pantry. It's done by zip code. So we have done it for that entire zip code, which represents your ward, and we've extended it to 02905, which touches on that border. But anyone that comes into us or requests emergency food gets that immediately. We don't turn anyone away. We give them emergency provisions and we redirect them for the pantry that's in their zip code or area code, because that's where they should be directed. In the case of pantries that I've mentioned, we've had 4 alone, I think, in this week or within this month that have closed or no longer operating. We're taking on those additionally. I have the privilege, in addition to being the director of the CAP agency for Providence, I'm also a board member for the Rhode Island Community Food Bank. So we had our board meeting this morning, and I'm proud to be able to say that we're able to serve citywide for anyone who has those emergency needs or has a pantry that's not been served. So I can assure you, we've turned no one away. We have actually increased the volume exponentially from where we thought we would be when we reopened and soft launched in February to now seeing an escalation again of just in our senior meal delivery program, which we had none in February. Now through March, we're delivering and have delivered over 500 meals to seniors when we've never had a Meals on Wheels type program. And now we have, for the month of April through April 29th, have served over 850 families in that area. So I'm very proud of the work that our agency's done. I'm not sure where you're getting the information that people are not being served. It is a possibility that they are in a different zip code or they've been assigned to a different food bank, which we do not administer. But when folks have come over and said that our partners in our agency and our network providers through the food bank have run short, don't have food, we immediately give them immediate rations and the ability to come in for emergency food. I can assure you not one single Providence resident that has come to us for food or has accessed our services has been denied.
Thank you. Councilwoman Costello?
Madam Secretary, after that meeting done, can you give me a call and we can connect and we can get like share more stuff like that? I can go over my neighborhood and let them know what's going on.
We're always willing to do that, Councilwoman. I always would love to connect because, again, moving from Elmwood to Broad Street is what we intended and we always assumed would happen, is being put on a major bus route would increase the demand. So we're seeing all of the old constituents that we saw. We're just seeing so many more new ones that we have never serviced before coming through our doors. So for those that were part of that 750 in that zip code, we continue to serve them. We just continue to see a large volume of first time now needing our services and a very heavy demand of emergency services from other pantries that are closing or not able to meet the demand. So I would absolutely be willing to continue to speak with you and make sure anyone that's trying to come through that we are able to serve get those services. What I do want to mention, because I did mention outside of this proposal, we received funding from other donors to be able to do things like the rental assistance, the gift cards. Not every person that asks for a gift card will get a gift card. There's not enough of those to go around, obviously. So we've been looking at those that are in highest need, and there's a screening criteria to be able to do that. We are actually doing so well with the pantry again. Those are really being used for families that are in larger family size or need other essentials that they can't get through the pantry. We want to funnel people through our pantry system because that's where the greatest need is. I've spoken with the mayor staff and others because we didn't want to have a run of people just coming and thinking we just had gift cards that we were giving away for everyday needs. We would need a Providence police detail every day at the building if that was the case. We just don't have that many, and they've already been depleted. As we get more funding coming in, we replenish those and we reach back out to those families that need diapers or need other things that we don't get through our other sources that are being depleted. But we go through them. We're definitely not sitting on anything as they come in, they come out the door. We're a pass-through agency. That's what we do. We get the resources in and we put them out to the community as quickly as we can. It may be, again, if you are 211 or you're hearing, well, CAP had gift cards last week. Well, we did have last week and we've given them all out to all those families that needed them. As more come in, we reconnect and get them back out. So again, food we're doing okay with right now. Volunteers are what has been needed to be able to staff the increase of demands when those truck after truckloads come in every week for us to supply those bags and supplies as the numbers are increasing. But yes, absolutely, we'd love to connect with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other council people?
Councilman Espinal.
Councilman Espinal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In regards to Councilwoman Castillo's concern, perhaps the fact that they recently moved may have contributed to some of the recipients being dislocated or not knowing where they are now, and may have created some confusion. So maybe you might want to work on your outreach program again to make sure that all the constituency, especially in Ward 9, since that's where you are, that everyone knows exactly where you are and the type of services that you offer. I see that happen before when there was a move, so you might lose some clients. So maybe that's what's happening. You might want to look into that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, and we've done a tremendous amount of outreach, and we'll continue to do that with the councilwoman and with the mayor's office. So we did a direct mailing and calls to every single one of the 750 families that we had prior to closing, and did a lot of outreach and networking to try to do that. But again, there could have been some of those that may have fallen through that did not receive them. But even in our soft launch, we started to see an uptick with folks and folks coming back. But we'll do everything we can to put our arms around people and to make sure that they're not falling through the cracks. So we're more than willing to take on that request from you, Councilman. We hope we did a really adequate job of doing that pre-launch, reaching out to everyone that we could.
And I know about your work. You guys do great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other council people who may have a question? If not, I would like to ask you, how many staff are still able to work, and are they working remote, or they are a part of the building, or do you have them divided up? How many staff members do you have within the pantry? Broad Street.
So in our pantry, great question. It's more about the social distancing and not being able to have as many bodies there. We have roughly spaced out through that space. I'm not sure if my deputy is on the line or not. We keep within the 5 in the distancing. So what we used to have, Council, Norma, how many do we have on a daily basis?
And where the food pantry?
For the food pantry.
For the food pantry, we have every day we have 2 staff assigned for the appointments, and then we have 3 more for the distribution, and then the rest are volunteers.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, if they need to state their name and their position.
Yes, I would like that very much. I think people are just all excited to be able to talk to each other. Please state your name and your position for us to get to know you as well.
Okay, I'm Norma Gonzalez. I'm the Deputy Director at Community Action Partnership for Providence.
Thank you. Welcome being on the call tonight.
Thank you.
So To answer your question, we've had to streamline it because of the social distancing that's required to be in that space. The way our program used to operate is they would have, it was called client choice, where we would bring clients through to be able to pick whatever of the produce, groceries, proteins that we would have. But because of the social distancing, staff is now required on the off days when the pantry is not serving to stock bags and boxes according to family size, which we can hand to them or give to them in a safe manner so that we're limiting exposure. So that in itself has been really difficult, and we've been really grateful for Providence Emergency Management coming through with some additional volunteers because our actual staffing numbers are half of what they normally are pre-COVID response, and that's agency-wide. So we have quite a few staff that are on leave because of lack of childcare and all the other issues that come along with COVID-19. So our space limitations are challenging, but actually having staff to be able to run that program. So I can actually say to you, Norma, like all of our executive management team, right down from our deputy, are manning days at the food pantry. They are literally delivering meals. So there's no one, including our CFO, our HR director, myself, or my deputy, that are not spending time at that pantry delivering food or delivering meals to our seniors. That's how short we are on staff, but
And
still
you're using
doing
your
what we're being called to
cars
do.
to do this delivering?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Councilwoman.
Did you say you're using your personal cars to do the delivering?
We are. So we are able to put them on our insurance to be able to do those runs. So again, we're limited in staff. So we've got volunteers and staff going out to do those runs because it's easier to navigate streets that way to be able to do those deliveries to high rises and other buildings, keeping someone else to keep the car running while they're dropping and moving. So yeah, our staff has just stepped up and are using all the protocols and the basic safety and PPEs that we have still available to make sure that shut-ins and seniors that are not able to come and get those needed provisions are getting them daily. Our staff is amazing.
Thank you. Can you tell me, did that increase start after the pandemic, the 150 increase? And do you expect to see the more people? You mentioned a lot of people are not back to work because of childcare, and you're absolutely right. I mean, there's a lot of homes, I'm sure, that is within the next couple of weeks, just in my humble opinion, that we're going to start to see a little bit more of the struggle. Do you see that happening, or where did the 150 increase come from? Just from your move, or is that from the pandemic?
That I can't quantify which of the two. We did our soft launch just in the middle of February. So we've only been open since the middle of February and did our soft launch. We started seeing an uptick in the beginning of March before the governor's orders for stay in place kind of happened. What we do know is we're seeing a large amount of folks that were not registered pantry participants. So
Okay.
again, they were not part of that original group. So whatever reason it's bringing them, whether it's economic decline, whether it's our more availability being on the bus route. We know as we are talking to people, many of them, it's been because of being displaced from work, not having adequate ability to be able to get out to markets and do that kind of general shopping that was needed. Folks are coming that generally have not utilized our services before. And again, we are really fortunate at this time to be able to be a support in the larger food bank network for a lot of pantries that have started to close around the city. So again, I believe Norma had said to me on the way in, she had counted another 4 that were closed since we've been reopened. So again, we're kind of picking up that slack in the network for folks. And I've got to remind you, we were already the biggest pantry in the city of Providence before COVID-19. So I can only expect it will continue. And this is with one zip code with some fringe that we were doing prior to this year. So we expect to see more increase in need without question.
I have been through this whole thing really big on making sure that our families and our community have some type of education. Is there any kind of information that you're putting in the food bags, warning them about the COVID-19 and the safety of their families, and important for us to keep each other safe?
That has not been something that we've done to this point. For I think we just have not done that to this point. We've been using a lot of our sources, whether it's our social media, whether it's our online platforms, we have so many folks that are just in need of translated services. It would be something we just need to get in multiple languages. But I think it's an opportunity that we could explore. Right now, we've just been trying to get that basic need of getting food in people's hands. So if that's something the city would like us to explore or look at, it's something we could definitely do. So we'd be open to having that conversation.
Thank you so much. Councilwoman Costello, are you all right with your follow-up? You will be following up with the organization and continue some of the conversations, right?
Yes, I'm all right. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. If there's no other council people who have any other requests of this committee or any other information they'd like to know more of, I want to thank you for being at the front line. I want to thank you for your own putting yourself in harm's way. We all say that people that are on the front line are doing that every day, especially when they are looking out for others. I mean, you're doing a very important job. It's very important for us to make sure that people are not going without food. So your job is very important. We recognize your work, and I believe this committee really admire your work. I guess there's just a little follow-up that needs to happen. And I believe the only thing that can come out of this thing is just a better partnership and relationship. Looking forward to seeing other things that you are doing and how you are helping with the needs in this community. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you for having us and for being great supports in the work that we do. Thank each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wow. At this time, we can hear from another organization. I think that our next one on the top is Family Service organization that we all are familiar with and very proud of the work as well. So the Family Service have asked to speak before the committee, and we are very excited to hear your presentation. So if you are prepared, please come before the committee.
Thank you. This is Stephen Hugg. I am the Director of Grant Strategy for Family Service of Rhode Island. And I have my two colleagues with me, and I guess should they introduce themselves?
Please do.
Okay, Candace and Sarah.
My name is Candace Jondro, and I'm the Director of Victim Services for Family Service of Rhode Island.
And I am Sarah Kelly Palmer, and I'm the Vice President of our Healing Department at Family Service of Rhode Island, which includes our victim services.
Right.
Well,
and,
thank you.
And both of them are involved in our Police Go team, which we have a very short screen I can share with you. We did send to Tina, and you should all have a copy of it anyway. It's a very short, and I could bring that up. I think if you're not aware, Family Service of Rhode Island was founded in 1892 in Providence. We have a wide range of services. We've been doing the Providence Police Go team since 2005. And a lot of you know, some of you know Carla Cuellar. She's kind of a legend working with the Providence Police. Now, let me see if I can hit the share screen here. Share screen. Okay, there it is.
Cool.
All right, can you see that?
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, that's just the cover. The next thing, I'll go to the next page. If you don't know, the Providence Police Go team is to help when responding to calls for assistance. Police officers bear the responsibility of apprehending a perpetrator while protecting the vulnerable. That's really where this came from. Because of our Police Go team, officers are able to respond to the scene with immediate social services, critical to break the cycle of trauma for victims. This is 24/7, by the way, 7 days a week. This was a revolutionary partnership. I guess it still is for some communities. Police and social workers on patrol together. We partner with the Providence Police and other police agencies to offer immediate on-scene psychological first aid. We provide crisis intervention, trauma support, language assistance to victims of sexual assault, human trafficking, homicide, suicide, domestic violence, and other violent crimes. And by providing immediate help to victims of crime, we reduce the emotional issues known to cause future incidents. Again, it's 24/7. It's a partnership. It is long supported by the chief. In 2019, in the city of Providence, we helped 433 people, victims of crime. Almost all the crime victims reported, you can see there's little circles there, that they receive the type of assistance they need, because we do track what's happening to make adjustments if things aren't working out well, or if we should be doing different things. About 90% of the victims reported satisfaction. 77% of victims reported a more positive opinion of the police, which is an important item, actually, because they should turn to the police as people who help them, not as the enemy. And this program certainly does that. And 81% of the victims reported they would be more likely to contact the police for assistance in the future. So building that trust. And sometimes with isolated communities is so important. This is a case study. Shortly, if we have time, a clinician was on a ride along with the Providence police when they received a call to respond to a domestic violence incident. Unfortunately, it wasn't the first time for that family. The officers and our staff person interviewed the mother. The clinician tended to 3 young girls found huddled together in a bedroom. One had just thrown up. It's very, the trauma of these things on children, on adults as well. Our clinician provided crisis intervention and critical psychological first aid. The mom was more willing to provide information to the police than in the past because our clinician is bilingual. The girls revealed there was a loaded gun hidden in the bedroom, and police were able to secure and remove it from the home. And then our clinician, probably Carla Quetar, followed up with the family and got them enrolled in social service programs to reduce the trauma from the incident and help the girls cope with the arrest of their father. The police loved the program. 100% reported the highly value of it, and 92% said they were very satisfied with the level of services provided to victims. Well, we come in, we've gone to the Providence CDBG application for funding to help us. However, I should emphasize that almost all the money comes from the Victims of Crime Act, the Federal Victims of Crime Act. We apply and get that money and bring it into the city, 82%. And Sarah can touch on that because that funding is endangered. We have an unfunded part of it. We're asking Providence CDBG to pay for about 9% of it. And if you don't mind, Sarah, if you would touch base on the fact that we expect to get less funds from the federal government, and we've been told that. Could you, if you don't mind, talk about that?
Yep. So Sarah Kelly Palmer, Vice President, Family Service. Thank you, Steve, and thank you to the council for having us. We have been told by our state VOCA, Victim of Crime Administration administrator, that this year they do expect to see a significant cut in funds for victims of crime coming into our state. And that was even prior to this COVID-19 crisis. In light of the COVID-19 crisis, I think that also adds an additional layer of worry for all of us that provide these essential services for victims of crime, as we also think that that could impact the funds coming in for victims. So it's even more critical that we look to you, the council, to CDBG to help us fill this funding gap. Because in light of this crisis, we also know that rates of domestic violence, child abuse, victimization, we anticipate are going to get higher and higher. And as we come out of a kind of this isolation and quarantine, we anticipate that those things are going to spike and the reporting of that will spike. So we would like to be able to respond to the citizens of Providence as we have done since 2005 in this way.
And if I may add, there's not been one dime of city money for this program, other than CDBG on and off over the years. Last year, we received some funding. We don't receive funding from the police department. I'm a grant writer for Family Services of Rhode Island, essentially, and we write grants to help pay the bills. VOCA, as we said, is a big chunk of that. We are very concerned that we're not going to be able to cover it. And then our board of directors, which has fiduciary responsibility, ultimately has to decide what we're going to do. So we are going to be fighting for the VOCA funding. The round is just starting up, but we are asking for Providence CDBG support because, first of all, it helps us in our application. And second of all, we're not sure if we're going to be able to bring in the money like we did in the past. And then we have to start looking at what we're going to do about it. And then I should go to the next slide. The impact, we have Family Services of Rhode Island has about 35 programs, just as a bigger picture. One of the programs we have, you may have heard of our Be Safe program. The governor's talked about it, a COVID-19 program where we're delivering cleaning agents and food and other basic needs to families in Providence. I think mostly in Providence, but also across the state. We've served 5,000 individuals since COVID-19 started up, and we've raised all of that for that program totally from private funding. We have we've been working in the schools for a long time, and we have many other programs, basically different types of social service programs, and we've been doing it since 1892. And that's it for the slideshow there.
Okay. Can you repeat how long you've been doing it, since when?
I believe the first year was 2005. Chief Esserman brought the model to the city when he became the chief. And Margaret Holland McDuff, who was our CEO, was interested in talking to him. And it turns out he had a model from Hartford that he had worked on with Yale. And so we started with, at that time, by funding from the Rhode Island Foundation, I believe the United Way as well. We trained with officers and we developed the program at that time, but it's never received any city funding programs. I should mention that it has been replicated. We have replicated the program in Central Falls and East Providence with the state police. And we hope later this year to start with Pawtucket. It is very popular with the police, not only in Providence, but the state police and other communities that we're working, because it is based on a program that has shown results out of Yale. And we just have a great partnership, and it's transforming victims' lives in the city of Providence.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, this is Pro Temp.
No,
This is Vice Chairman Ducey. I'm having problems with my technology here, as you can see.
That's okay. Thank you. Steve, let me just be very brief. I just want to thank you guys for what you do. I know firsthand what the organization is about and what they do, and I know for a fact that the support from the police department is behind you guys 150%. And again, I as a councilman here in Ward 4, I look forward to continue supporting the organization and the people of the organization. And again, Steve and everyone else, thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. I agree with Councilman Narducci, and I believe the entire committee agree that your work is very valuable. It is definitely have made an impact and will continue as we see the struggle go on. We really appreciate you coming tonight and letting us know the work that you're still doing and doing very well in the community. We are very big supporters of family service. So you're absolutely right. We will do as we can do accordingly. What, like everything else, like you said, funding is what it is, and you know that as a grant writer. But again, we appreciate your work. If there's no other comments from any other council people, we will accept the presentation.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Espinal.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I just want to echo your comments as well. I think they do great service. They've been around for many years. And I just want to thank them for the work that they do, the services they provide for the families in need. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I think we are very satisfied with the presentation, and we really appreciate Family Service and all the work that they are doing. Again, the committee definitely supports your work. We have another organization, if I'm not mistaken. Do we have another one that's Madam Clerk?
Yes, here we have City Year Providence here, and joining us will be Jenny Johnson and Alex Molina.
Okay, thank you. Welcome tonight. Here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us. My name is Jenny Johnson. I serve as the Executive Director of City Year Providence. And on behalf of myself and Alex Molina, who's here as well, he is our Managing Director of Impact. He runs all of our service in the schools that we serve. And so first of all, first and foremost, thank you, Chairwoman Harris, Vice Chairman Narducci, Council President Sabina Matos, and honorable members of the council and the committee for having us tonight, not only for having us, but for all you're doing always, but particularly now during this crisis. I'm watching from home, of course, all that you're doing to lead the residents of Providence through this crisis. And it's just evident, even in this meeting, how deeply you care and how much you want to just walk alongside everyone to lead us through this crisis. So thank you for that. We're grateful for the opportunity to present to you tonight. We will be brief, and we're grateful for the support that you've provided us over many, many years. We understand how hard these decisions are to make and how great the need is for so many great organizations throughout the city, but we do appreciate the opportunity to just update you on some of the changes and some of the things that have been going on with our work. So thank you for that. And I know you received the presentation. Thank you so much, Tina, who was really amazing to work with, made this very easy and not so nerve-wracking on us. But there was just, we won't walk through the presentation. We're happy to take questions, but I just wanted to highlight a couple of quick things for you. Just going back, we have been in the city of Providence, a state of Rhode Island, for 25 years. We were actually, for the first 10 years of our service, we were serving statewide. And about 14 years ago, when I came into the organization, along with our board, we made a decision to fully focus our service in Providence and in Providence schools. And our AmeriCorps members, 60 AmeriCorps members, serve as student success coaches in right now 6 schools, although we would love to be in more schools. And they basically serve from the first day of school to the last day of school, all day, every day. We're providing whole school support, such as, things to enhance the culture and climate of the schools, whether that be morning programs, after school programs, making phone calls home, helping run family, report card nights and dinners and homework nights. And then we serve in classrooms right alongside partner teachers, where our AmeriCorps members are for the bulk of their day. They're helping teachers to sort of keep track of the whole classroom, making sure all the students have what they need to follow along with the lesson. And then they usually will pull students out or work with students in small groups, both in English language arts and in math. And then finally, another component of our service is helping to encourage attendance to school, because we know that if our students aren't in school, they can't learn and get the full experience of being in school. So we're making phone calls home, doing morning programs, everything from greeting the students when they come into school. If you've never seen a good power greeting from our AmeriCorps members, as they're literally cheering and clapping our students as they walk into school, it is really a special thing. And so I mentioned that we have been in the state for 25 years. And one thing I just want to highlight that I think this committee will really appreciate is what we're starting to see now is local young people who did have City Year in their school or in their life who are now coming and applying to serve as AmeriCorps members. And many of them citing that that experience really inspired them to want to come back and go back into the schools. We're seeing so much of it, and it is, you know, that really is what it's all about and what it means to have served an entire generation of students and families in Providence. And it's been amazing to partner with families and with our students. And so the other piece of that I wanted to mention is, as you all know, as we are in the starting year of turning around our school system, and knowing that all of your leadership is contributing to getting us, you know, up and running with that. But one of the things, as we know, that is very evident is that we don't have enough teachers in our school system. So we have a teacher shortage. And one of the things that we've been seeing over the past few years is AmeriCorps members coming in, whether right out of high school and are local or from other places in the country, or out of college locally or around the country, who are, when they spend time in the schools, in the classrooms, working with administrators, working with families, they want to go on to be teachers. And many of them come in wanting to be teachers. Many of them come in not wanting to be teachers and then change their path. And we have noticed this happen organically. And so what we've been trying to do now is be more intentional about building some pathways for our students locally to become teachers, and hopefully contribute to building and diversifying the teacher pipeline in Providence, because we know that is needed. So that's one of the things that we're trying to create an additional work stream to do, because it's been happening so organically. We want to be able, we think we can really increase the number of young people going into teaching. And what better thing to see than a student who's been through the Providence school system, comes back, does a year of national service with City Year, and there are other programs too, and then goes on to get back into the classroom and teach other students. So that's one of the new pieces that we haven't talked a lot about over the years, separate but not mutually exclusive, if you will, from our regular service model. So just wanted to highlight that, and I'm happy to talk more about it. And then just, you know, would be remiss if I didn't say, again, obviously, when we put our application in, no one expected that we would, you know, experience this pandemic. And so just an update for all of you, about 2 weeks after school was canceled, we worked over the course of 2 weeks, and Alex worked pretty much 24 hours a day to get our AmeriCorps members set up to serve virtually in classrooms. It wasn't as easy as one would anticipate, because we had to respect and protect the privacy of our students and families in that virtual space, and make sure that our AmeriCorps members were equipped to provide the quality of service and support that they needed. So a few weeks in, we began serving with teachers in classrooms. And prior to that, our AmeriCorps members were making videos to be able, so that administration could share with their students. And so they were so happy to be reconnected with their students. And so just to give you an update, our staff is all working remotely and from home, as our AmeriCorps members, which is an interesting phenomenon to manage for all of us. But we're just really proud to be able to continue to work with the amazing families and students in Providence. It remains an honor every day. I've been here for 15 years, and I'm never, they never cease to amaze me. So wanted to just cover those couple highlights. I'm happy to answer any questions, and just thank you from the bottom of our hearts for how much all of you, some of you I've known for many, many years, have always had our back, have always supported us, and most importantly, have supported our AmeriCorps members and our students. So thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for definitely the presentation. I was very interested in the virtual learning and what your role was at this time. Like you said, with the virus being something new, this new life for us. The way I understand it, our students will not be returning to school until they're not going to return in the year. And so I was wondering exactly what role for the year is playing in the virtual learning, making sure that the students' lesson plans are kept up enough that they, when the time comes, that they won't just drop between the cracks. And is there any specific thing that you're doing, or is there plans in place? Because every day we all are learning in this new norm, they call it now. And I know that it's a lot that we're learning. And I'm just wanting to know what, you said that you would like to be in all the schools. I think right now the time seems to be, opportunity is for the year to do that. Opportunity is for our young people to maybe the ones that are strong enough to remotely learn on their own and have the ability to be, strong enough to learn on their own. And then there's others that might need that personal attention and that personal contact. And I can see with the work you've done in the past that you're so prepared for wherever we're going. What are your thoughts on maybe tomorrow might not change quickly?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chairwoman Harris. I appreciate that. And I would welcome Alex to jump in at any time as my partner. But yeah, we were awaiting that decision as well. And so Alex can outline in a little bit more detail exactly what we're doing, but we're prepared to serve virtually through the end of school and keep doing what we're doing, which is a lot of work around social emotional learning, being in the classroom with teachers, and working with students when possible and appropriate in smaller groups to make sure that they are staying as much on track. And to your point about planning, yes, I mean that now literally, as you said, it's day by day. We're thinking now in the immediate, let's get through this crisis. And at the same time, every day we check in as a team for like 2 hours to think about what is the fall going to bring when we get back into schools, when our students get back into schools. What does that look like? What is our role? What is the loss in learning that students across the state are, really going to see? And how does our role need to shift and change because of the need? And that's what we're committed to. Is we have a model, it does work. And we are a part of the Providence team, and we will do what the Providence team needs, what the Providence schools and what the city needs for us to do, and really what our students need. And so we anticipate working really closely with the district and to put together a contract of services that is what our students need, and not making any assumptions. And Alex, I don't know if you would add anything about what it's been like virtually and what we're thinking about long term.
That's not a problem. My name is Alex Molina, and I currently serve as Managing Director for Impact for City of Providence. I apologize I don't have my camera on, because if not, you'll see a 4-year-old on top of me. As many of you, I'm trying to manage working from home with my kids. It's an adventure, right? So just to add, everything looks different depending on the school's needs. In some schools, our core members are right next to teachers, so they're leading the instruction in the classroom, right? Ensuring the teachers have an extra set of hands. This is new for teachers, right? This is new for students. The beauty is that our core members, 18 to 25, they're quite tech savvy. So they understand how to navigate Zoom, how to navigate all those different platforms. So not only they're supporting teachers understanding this virtual world, but understanding what young people need in these virtual spaces. So like I said, they're supporting teachers in the classroom. If if students need additional supports via Zoom, we can create other separate rooms where they can work with the students alone, so the teacher can lead a whole class instruction and they can work with students one-on-one, which is another great way. In addition, like Jenny alluded, we know that this is difficult time, especially for our population. We know that this virus has impacted the Latino community a lot. So our core members who have done a lot of training, a lot of talking points, just in case they need to have those tough conversations with young people to understand that things will be okay, to understand that things is out of control, but we're here to help them. So the social emotional support is one of the things we're trying to advocate, because we understand what the impact that someone who's 18, 25, who's near peer, who's someone who looks like the students, is having a discussion about this. What's happening now has big impact. But not only that, something I want to highlight, we're also supporting teachers and principals who this is brand new. Like I said, our core members are tech savvy, so they're leveraging resources, sharing that with teachers and principals, saying, hey, you can do this. We can host a virtual school dance. We can host a virtual meeting with parents, and this is how you put everything together. So I have to say it's been unbelievable, the passion and commitment our core members have shown, and the willingness from teachers and principals to trust us. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alex. I think you're absolutely right. That generation is definitely tech savvy and is definitely prepared for this technology and this new world that many of us been forced into. Yes, I think your organization is definitely needed, definitely in this time and in this period. Is there any other council members that would like to address this organization?
No, Alex, just remember, family comes first and family's the best. Take care of that 4-year-old.
Trust me, he lets me know every day.
Awesome.
Chairwoman, I would like to add.
President Mathos.
Hi, thank you. So I have been a big supporter of City Year for a long time. I think that the work that they have been doing in our schools is just amazing. It's a work that we were not going to be able to pay for if we were paying for it directly. The level of support that they bring to the classrooms, whenever we're going to be back in the classroom one day, right? At assisting the teachers and being very, actually connecting with the students and giving them that support with the homework, explaining if they don't understand the class, they explain that to them. So it's a great service that they do for our students. And another great thing is many of their members are, in many occasions, members of the same community, that the students feel that they're represented and they can see themselves as an adult. Or they come back and bring the stories about when I was your age or when I was here, this is how I felt. I know how you feel. I went through that, but look at me. I was able to do it. I graduated. I went to college. So I'm a big fan, as you can see. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Is there any other Councilman Espinal?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say that I know of since early 2000, the chair of the organization on Broad Street.
Councilman?
Yes.
You are coming in very, very choppy.
I think my first time.
The internet is.
So briefly before. Can you hear me now?
No.
No.
He's chopping in and out.
I think my phone is going to die. It is dying.
Madam Clerk, I'm having also problems with my technology. I would ask that many of us already know the great work that the city here, and I'm hoping that they are very much a part of this COVID-19.
All right.
A little better.
It's slightly better.
I know you work for about 20 years. My son's to receive the work you do. And I asked him if I could go to some finding you. And he said yes. Yes.
You're not coming in.
We cannot hear you.
Can't hear him.
I'm sorry.
You
might be able to call in.
It's fine. Just trying to thank you for the wonderful work that you do. Thank you.
Just give a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
He always makes questions. I'm so sorry we did not hear that question. I think it's a lot to do with our technology. And at this time, if there's no other pressing questions for this organization, I would like to accept their presentation tonight. And I'm looking forward to the work that I know they're going to be created in throughout this whole virus and this pandemic situation that we're in. I know you are looking forward to working even closer with the young people in school at a distance. So with your opportunity to have such great young folks that have the technology, and who knows, the city council may be calling on you anytime soon.
I was going to say, I was going to offer that as an additional service. We can,
Well,
they help us a lot.
Definitely don't know how long we're going to be in this position.
I know.
So we definitely appreciate you. Looking forward to hearing more about your work here in the city of Providence. I myself going to lose my, I'm going to lose as well.
Madam Chair, would it be proper then, if having no other business at this time, make a motion to continue?
Mr. Vice Chair, we need to continue item number 1.
Yes, we. I think that's what he was getting ready to say, that we would be able to continue this matter.
My apologies.
1.
Well, give me a chance. Just listen to me, Kino.
Go ahead, Councilman.
I'd like to make a motion to continue item number 1, if having no other business for tonight. Tina, I love you.
Second.
Second that.
We have a second by Pro Temp Correa. All in favor? Aye.
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 And no opposition, I'm assuming. So with that matter passing, is there any other business before this body tonight?
Madam Chair, can I just make a statement?
Very much. Quickly.
Can we just make sure that Emily and Kyle work together to make sure that these other council members get their bond money, their CDBG funds allocated, so we can get moving on this budget? And I would request that the city council members go through Kyle and have Kyle go through Emily.
Awesome, that's a great suggestion. I know internally they're doing as much work as they possibly can. So council people, please, if you haven't done your ward funds, please do it.
Madam Chair, if I just may, if Erwin is, Madam Chair, if I may, if Erwin is on the line still, Erwin, if you can just contact Kyle, and maybe you could help him reach out to the council members so we can get this moving along.
Absolutely, Pro Tem and members of the committee. We're actively working on that. We're hoping to wrap this up soon.
Thank you.
Right then, Madam Chair, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
A motion has been made to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
A second, second and second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Well, thank you very much. This is one hardworking committee. I know we got a lot to do ahead of us, so I want to thank you, and I'm sending you all a virtual hug. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye, Tina.
Bye.
Bye.